Good night. Oh my goodness. I really hope some of you are going to be joining me tonight. I'm coming to you live straight because I'm doing this by myself. So I'm not here with anybody else. And I'm actually going to be putting this on my Facebook, my YouTube channel. So I'm making sure I've got nothing on. All my airs and graces, is that what you say? Airs and graces, I don't know what it's called, are off. And I am going to be fully and truly Chardonnay high, tag some people, let everybody come into the house. Let's have the tea, you know. We're going to be doing this. Hi, Marie. We are going to be doing this live. I'm going to take some time to let everybody come in. I'm trying to think of a song that I could play that is really fitting to the series. I'm going to be here for 3 days. I know, girl, I missed you. I'm going to be doing this 3 days straight, and I'm going to be vulnerable and honest. I really want you to tag somebody in the group. I don't care if you know them. I really, really want you to tag them. Because I think this is really important for all of us to hear, men and women alike. I think it's an important conversation that we need to have. I want you guys to see, I've got pink on. I'm not a pink person, but I put pink on today. I think it's a conversation that we need to have, and I think it's one where I'm going to be totally honest and open. I'm going to share some things that happened to me. So tomorrow night, yes, thank you very much, Chardonnay. Tag some people, tag them. I want to see you tag them in the. Hi, Abigail Green. I want to know where you guys are joining me from. Tag Audrea, tag Carol, tag Rose, tag Audrea. So I really thought about doing this series only a few days ago because I really thought it was important for me to share some of my conversations with you. It's for me to be honest and vulnerable. Ooh. It's for me to be honest and vulnerable. And I'm not going to be calling names of anybody because I don't believe in that. What I'm here to do is to share my story, to share my experience, and hopefully it can help somebody. Hopefully I can learn something new about myself. But ultimately to show you how our past, how low self-esteem, and how things can creep upon us. Now, I am not embarrassed to tell anybody. I think I've always said that I live in a duality. And the duality that I live in is one whereby on this side, every now and then my past, my low self-esteem, it hovers in the background, you know, it's there, and it's there based on the fact that I've been sexually abused, I've been homeless, I grew up in an environment where it was unavoidable to have low self-esteem. So I've always operated in that duality. It's always hovering in the background, right? And on this duality, I'm the strong, powerful, very confident, very loud, very blunt woman who actually desires and values a relationship and wants to be loved. And I found myself, when I think back on my relationships, I really think that I have always had that desire, that need, that craving of a partner. And I think more so because I never had a father. And also I think because I actually had passed, I'm 44 in February, and I have moved over 36 times in my life. And even the house I live in now, I know I'm going to move again. And I think when those things happen to you, that kind of trauma, because moving is traumatic. And I think just the moving and the uncertainty and my childhood and the sexual abuse and the low confidence and how I grew up led me to have this desire and this need to be partnered. And I found myself always wanting to have a partner. I've always wanted to settle down. I've always been the girl who wanted the picket fence, not literally, but figuratively, wanted to be settled and married and have children. My plan for my life was to be married. I'm feeling uncomfortable tonight. I don't know why. I'm going to be so naked right here. My plan for my life was to be married, had children for the same man. If anybody told me that I'd been married twice, 2 children, 2 different fathers, I would have said no. But here I am. And so I was my daughter's dad, and I loved him. We had a great relationship. You have to read about that in my book, because I'm not going to dwell on that, because I want to come to present day almost. And 4 years ago, my ex-husband and I separated and got divorced. And this is my 5th year of being single. Our 6th, oh my God, it's my 6th year of being single. Oh my God, it's 6 years of being single. And I've been very lonely. I've found myself, I've gone on dates, I've been on dating sites, you name it. I was on Plenty of Fish, I was on Tinder, I was there. And here's the crazy part, even some of the dating sites I was on, I knew very well that some of my values in terms of what they stood for was not being matched, but I always believed that there might be 1 or 2 good men who are going to be on them. And so I remember wanting to go on Tinder, and I was embarrassed because I'm Ava Brown. How do I put my profile on Tinder? I'm embarrassed about that. And I remember meeting somebody who said she actually got married from Tinder. So I thought, it's not that bad. But I was kind of like, ooh, I'm not so sure. But I went on dating sites. As a matter of fact, if you Google me, you might find me on a few dating sites, because I joined so many of them, I even forgot where I was. Okay, just get that straight. And I kept going on dates, and I go on dates, and these men were not measuring up. And I remember going on a date. I'm going to sip some tea for this one. I remember going on a date, right? And the guy wouldn't show me who he was. And I remember it was at the cinema, and I remember I decided that if I went on the date and he was really ugly, I was going to pretend like it wasn't me, and I was going to turn around and head for my car. And I remember it was in London, it was in Streatham, and I went to Streatham Cinema, and I saw the guy, and I made sure he didn't see me. And when I saw him, I was like, no way am I going to be seen with this man. And I literally absconded and went to my car. And I was so heartbroken. I was so disappointed because I was so lonely, and I lived for about 10 good years of my life lonely. So let me just give you a time warp so you understand. I got married at 22, had my daughter at 22. Audrey, tag some people, please. And I've not been to a dance, I've not been to a club, I've not had that lifestyle because I was a mother at 22. And I became a mother at 22. So for the last 24 years, or the last 22 years, I've been a mother. And in those 22 years of being an adult, I've only lived with a man 2 or 3 years. Let me say that again. I'm 44. And in my 44 years, I've only lived with a man for 3 years. And I'm married twice. You can get that for yourself. So I found myself being on my own a lot. And I remember being on these dating sites, and I would meet guys, and I would think, no. And then I got attracted to African men because they were so available. There were so many of them. It was like rice, grains. They were everywhere. So I got into this whole African men thing. And to be very honest, I had been so broken, I think, when I look back now, that when I met my ex-husband, who was an African man, I hadn't even understood what proper love was, because I was still trying to love me. And so in my space of emptiness, I craved this hard love he had. He loved hard. He would cry for everything. He would say he was sorry. He was on his knees all the time. And I didn't understand that. And for me, that was like, serious. That was loving hard. Little did I know that was just conning me, okay? But there was something inside of me that craved, that needed this attention and needed this acceptability, if you want to call it that. And so this man came into my life, and he truly and seriously, men can, when there's a void, people can literally pick up on it, and they can know how to play to it. So I was dating this man for a pretty part of 4 years. He would come to my house, he would be there, he chased me for 2 years. And I literally did not understand his culture. I didn't understand enough about him. I know that he showed me a lot of attention, but I didn't even have the sensibility to understand that he kept coming to my house, and that meant that there was something going on. I didn't question that. And I remember him, I'm gonna go real deep here, guys. I'm gonna be honest and transparent. I remember him coming to my house, and it was 2 years in, and he was chasing me, and I thought, okay, 2 years now, come on, he must love me. Come on. Anybody understand that? 2 years of chasing me, you must love me, right? You're chasing me for 2 years, you love me. And so I gave in to him. I gave in to him. I gave in to him. You understand that, right? And so it was great. It was amazing. I'm like, God, this is so good. This sugar is really nice. This is good sugar right here. Like, God, this is amazing. And I got hooked because part of me needed that. Part of me missed that. Part of me wanted that. And we started seeing each other. He would come to my house. He would gradually stay over because he'd been coming for 2 years. So my daughter had known him. And I could never go to where he lived, right? And I could never understand why. And he kept saying that he lived somewhere and there were Jamaicans in the house. By the way, he was Nigerian. And there were Jamaicans in the house. And because there were Jamaicans in the house, there were drug dealers, stereotype. And he said he could not allow me to come to where he lived. Let me just close this door. This door is getting on my nerves, y'all. Hold on there. I am so sorry. He couldn't allow me to come to where he lived because if I came there, there's a possibility that the police would come and I would actually be arrested and I'd lose my license. And I was naive. I believed him because there was nothing to not believe him. I believed him. So I didn't go where he lived. He came to me all the time. And Chardonnay was sometimes at her dad and he would stay over. And before I knew it, I was in a relationship. Well, fast forward 6 months into this now active sexual relationship, right? We're now actively sexual. And the man would start backing back because in my head, well, I've known you for 2 years, we're together for 6 months sexually, and I want something more. I want something more serious. And I remember it was Christmas and he was at my house and he was just not being nice. He wasn't being nice. And I started realizing that there became holes in his story. And I don't know why my friends started saying to me, Ava, be careful. He hasn't got a visa. Ava, be very careful. And I kept saying, nah, he loves me. And I remember I was on Facebook and one of my friends then, we're no longer friends because she deceived me. And my friend then kept saying to me, this man is not good for you. And I didn't want to hear it because he made me feel good. So I don't want to hear your nonsense. And I remember I would call him and I couldn't get him anymore. And his phone calls became less. And he came back around, we started talking about marriage, and I was so happy. I was so excited, like, oh my God, when I got my British citizenship, this man came to the ceremony with me. You could only invite 2 people. He was one of them. Because for me, he was going to be my husband. His love was so amazing. We're going to be together forever. Nobody could tell me otherwise. Even though in the backdrop, he wasn't looking after me. Even though in the backdrop, he didn't do anything to me. He would come and he was taking. But in my head, he didn't have much because he was in college, he was in school, and he was not working enough money. He was on a student visa. And so for me, that was cool. It was okay. He was doing his master's. I was helping to do his papers. I was just engulfing this man because he filled a void that I had. I had a void. And that void had been empty since I was a child. And so here's somebody who's showing me all that attention. Here's somebody who's giving me all of these goodies, and the sex was great, and his body was fine, and he made me feel like a woman. He made me feel good in that moment, and everything has dissipated. I didn't care about the rest because I was in England. I just brought up with my daughter's dad a few years before that. He was my rock. He was my carpet. It was pulled from under me. I needed it replaced because I need to be loved. And Abraham Maslow talks about the hierarchy of needs. And so you understand what I mean when I say to you that this man was giving me everything. So I didn't care about the fact that he wasn't giving me what he should. And so I missed a lot of the signs. And how many of us can relate to that? You are in that space where you are single for a long time. You have a need and something comes up that looks stable. The signs are a red flag, but you stay because they look good. your body feels good. Okay, can I just be honest about it, right? My body felt good. So the other needs were not important. And so the man would go away and come back, and we had this visiting relationship, and he never took me anywhere. And it didn't matter because I had a child, and it was simple. I have a child, I can't go out, I had nobody to look after the baby, or he would come to mine. And little did I not know in my head that he didn't want to be seen with me. Did you get that? He did not want to be seen with me. So he couldn't take me out because he had an agenda, and I didn't understand this agenda, right? And so it was, I can't remember what month it was, but I just knew that I started feeling sick, right? And by this time, I was now working as a teacher, a supply teacher, so I was an agency staff. And my friends kept saying to me, Ava, leave this man alone. So one of my girlfriends, no longer my friend, decided she's gonna honey trap him. And by honey trap, I meant she decided that she was gonna go onto Facebook or go onto some dating site that she'd found him, and she was going to pretend to be somebody who was interested in him. And I was like, nah, he's not gonna bite. Nah, girl, don't swear for your man, okay? Don't swear for them. And as short as night turned to day, he bit. And before you knew it, she was on a phone to him. He told her he had lived with somebody. I didn't know that. But he was open to something. And my friend had said she was open too. So she wasn't looking commitment. She was just looking to have a good time. And of course, this was great for him because that's what he was looking for. And I remember when she told me, I was in denial. I thought I disliked her. I was angry at her because how dare she do this? Because I felt like in one breath, she was trying to destroy what I had with this man. And in another breath, I'm torn because I know what she's telling me is true, but I don't want to hear it. Do you ever get to that place where you don't want to hear it? Because right now in my space, what I need is this, and you're coming to destroy my happiness. And it might not be a perfect happiness, but it's all I have. So just let me be. And girls and boys and ladies and gentlemen, she said, okay, you don't want to hear me, no problem. So she set up a call, and a three-way, she did a call to him, called me on another phone, and put it on speaker, and I could hear him. And I could feel something in my heart that was just broken because he and I are in a relationship as far as I knew. I didn't know he lived with somebody else. That now explains why I couldn't go to his house. And I'm now torn and I want to leave. And in that being torn, I wanted to leave him, I found out I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant. Mikhail! Sorry, guys. I found out I was pregnant with our first child. And my whole world became crazy because at the time I wasn't even a permanent job. I was subbing. I was doing agency work. I had a mortgage. I had my daughter. I had been alone for like 10 years. And just really was angry that I had allowed myself to be so stupid. And my friends kept telling me, no, it's not going to work. Be careful, Ava, stop. I wouldn't listen. And I remember calling him and he wouldn't answer, right? So you just found out you're pregnant. And in my head, in my warped head, I'm thinking that, well, I'm pregnant. He's going to stay with me. He's going to forget all he was doing. He's going to leave all the other girls. I'm not pregnant because he used to go on his knees and cry to God because all his friends were having babies and they were getting married. And he would say, we're going to get married. So he was asking me to marry him. And I thought, yeah, great. And we're going to have a baby. No, that's perfect. He's an African man. Great stuff. I've got him together now. He going to stop all of that nonsense, right? That's what my stupid little brain was thinking. Well, girls and men and gentlemen and boys, I called that man for weeks. I couldn't get him. And I'm pregnant. And I'm standing there with this boots, positive, looking at it by myself, not understanding what I'm seeing. My daughter is 10 years old or something like that. She's big. And I don't want any more kids like this. I don't want to be a single mother again. So what am I going to do? And I remember my friend calling him and she four-way us or three-way us and made me hear and let him know, no, that I knew what he was up to. And it was, I can't remember all of that, because I think I blocked that out of my head. But long story short, he still didn't come, and I was pregnant, okay? So I called his friend, and I asked his friend to ask him to come and see me, and he wasn't gonna come, and I had to tell his friend that I was pregnant. So that was how he came to my house. And I remember when he came to my house, it was under, I can never forget this moment. He came, and he didn't even want to stay in the house. He went under this tree in the garden, and he was puffing his cigarettes away, and I'm like, I'm pregnant, like, come on. And this man is just puffing his cigarettes away, puffing his cigarettes away. Can you guys tag some people to come on this call? And he looked at me and he said to me, you pregnant for me? What would my friends and family think? You pregnant for me? And in that moment, it was like, I'm the scum of the earth. How could I ever be pregnant for him? Like, I wasn't good enough. And I didn't understand that, because what do you mean I'm not good enough? You're coming to my house, you're sleeping, I'm feeding you. How can I not be good enough now? We talked about being married, we talked about wanting a baby. So how am I not good enough? Right? And he said no. And he left. He left. And I remember when he left, I ran outside on the road. I had on a boot tube dress, okay? And I ran outside the road begging him to stay, running him down, begging him to stay. And he turned around and he looked at me and he said, go get some clothes on. Go get some clothes on. Now, I wasn't naked, but I didn't even care. I was just trying to hold on to this man who clearly didn't care, clearly didn't love me, but I couldn't see that. Do you understand that? The void was so big. The void was so deep. I couldn't see that this man didn't want me. I couldn't see that this man didn't give a damn about me. I couldn't see that. I just knew that I had your baby inside of me and you would have stayed. Well, guys, he left. And I cried. And I couldn't go to my friends because I was embarrassed. Because they knew that he didn't want me. And they tried to tell me he didn't want me. But I didn't want to hear that he didn't want me, because I'm not pregnant and the sex was so good, he had to want me, right? And the next day he called me and he said he wanted to come and talk. And I was like, yes, thank God, he's seen the light. Yes, he's coming back. We're going to fix it. Because that's what I wanted. Because I can't have another baby by myself. I can't lose my mortgage. I can't be standing on the cheese alone at the altar. So I was excited. The man came. And he said he was sorry, he made a mistake, that we need to work it out. Oh my God, I was so excited. He said, let's make love. We made love. It was great. And I thought, yeah, we're back together. We're going to do this. Let me get some tea here, guys. He's back. I'm going to leave all the girls. It's going to be all mine. It's totally mine now. And when he was finished making love to me, he said to me, you know, I want to marry you, right? And I was like, yeah, sure. And of course, guys, you know I'm excited, right? He's going to marry me. And the man looked at me and said, but we need to abort the baby because we're not ready. What? Did I hear you correctly? We need to abort the baby. So he said, we're going to get married, but we're not ready. So let's abort the baby. I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. And so the moment I said no, my guy, his countenance changed, because he didn't come back because he really cared and wanted to be with me. He came back to trick me to abort the baby. I said I wasn't going to do it, and he left. And he said, I'm going to walk into the train station, which was near to my house. And I walked into the train station. And when I got to the train station, he literally took out, I'm going to demonstrate, okay? He took out a piece of foil paper. And inside there were some white stuff. I don't know what they were. It was like crushed. I don't know. It was white. And he literally sat in front of me and he ate them. And I'm pregnant, so I'm salivating. I'm thinking it's sweet. I'm like, can I have some? And he said, no, you can't. And he literally emptied it into his mouth and walked off. Walked off. Totally walked off. And left me there standing. And I remember standing there thinking, what just happened? Like, what was that? And then he rang me on my phone and he said, Where are you? I said, I'm where you left me. He said, you were meant to come after me. You were meant to come after me. Now, I'm sorry, but that sounds like juju to me. Like, what did you just eat? Why couldn't you give me any? Why did you just walk off and leave me standing? And why are you going to tell me that after you ate whatever you ate, I was meant to come after you? Like, what does that mean? What is it? Why am I meant to come after you? What was it that meant, what was that there that meant that I needed to come after you? Well, I didn't go after him. And I went back home. And it was clear now that I was on my own. I was pregnant. I hardly had enough money to pay my mortgage. I had Chardonnay, and this man was gone. And for months, I remember, there's a particular ringtone, even today. It doesn't affect me as much, but there's a particular ringtone that Lebara Mobile used to have that I could not stand. Because I came to learn later earlier in that stage of what happened, that the man had two mobiles, okay? And so the mobile number I had was not his regular mobile. It was just the side chick mobile. So I'd be calling him on this phone, and the phone would ring. And let me tell you something, guys. I called him every hour on the hour, every day, every hour on the hour for months. He never answered once. And I'm pregnant. And psychologically, that did something to me. Mentally, that did something to me. Emotionally, that did something to me. I was here, I was somebody who had a bachelor's degree, I was studying my master's, I was educated, and here I was, calling a man who didn't care about me one iota every day, every hour, not eating, not sleeping, pregnant, not neglecting my daughter, but just not present, just stressed. Just, how did this happen to me? How could I have waited all these years and then this happened to me? And for a number of women and men, this is their reality, where you're with somebody and you can clearly see that they have no interest. You can clearly see that their agenda for you is not one that is pure, but something that is lacking inside of you, that was inside of me, was craving this unhealthy, toxic love. It wasn't even love. And I remember I couldn't pay my mortgage anymore. I remember getting to the place where I couldn't pay my mortgage. I remember getting to the place where things were so bad that my friends had to chip in and they had to help me, and I was depressed. And I was taking all kind of antidepressants or whatever it was. I can't remember now. And I remember I got sick, and I went to the antenatal clinic, and the baby had Down syndrome, and it was all kind of things happening. And long story short, I lost the baby, and I was glad. Can I just be honest? I was so glad. I was happy. I think my body rejected that child. Matthew, may your soul rest in peace. I think my body rejected that baby because I was not going to do this on my own again. And I think mentally you can reject a child in your womb. I think your mind can reject your womb. And I lost the baby, and I remember being in the hospital, and I cried. I cried so hard. And it was the September. I never forget. It was a September. And the September, I don't know what happened, but out of the blues, I was at my friend's house. And I left to go to another friend's house because by now I can't be on my own. Every chance I got, I'm going to my friends' houses. Every chance. I don't want to be alone. I was on my own, and I just did not like my own company. I didn't like the silence. It's actually crazy that I work from home now and I don't like to see people because I didn't like being alone. I didn't want space to think. What I didn't tell you guys, let me just go back. What I didn't tell you that I was 5 months pregnant. I was 5 months pregnant, and I was in my local town on a bus. I was on the, so he was on the bus and I was on the walking, big pregnant, because when I'm pregnant, I'm big. And that guy sat on that bus saw me down, because double-decker bus in London, saw me big pregnant, and did not even say hello. And inside my belly was his baby. And it gets better. So I'm at my friend's house, and she calls and said, guess what? I just lost the baby. Like, I was still bleeding, so it's not even a long time. And she said, guess who is at my house looking for you? Say what? You're at my friend's house looking for me? Now that I lost the baby? Did you have a telepathic conversation with something? Did somebody tell you I lost the baby? Or did you make me lose the baby? Or did you do something? Or how did you know to come and look for me now? And I remember my friend saying that he's going to come and look for you. And can I just be honest? There was a part of me that craved and desired and wanted. And Dr. Michelle is a psychologist. You can tell me what happened here. I don't know if that was pain or grief or hurt or being pathetic and stupid and low self-esteem and low self-worth and low self-value or low in dignity. But there was a part of me that was glad he came to look for me. And there was a part of me that was not anticipating seeing him again. I'm just giving you the tea, okay? So I went to my house that night. I actually even hurriedly left my friend's house because I couldn't wait. I didn't want to not be at home. So if he came, he missed me. I wanted to be there. Sick, crazy girl. Mad. And I remember going home, and he didn't come that night. He came another night. And I'm gonna end this here for tonight because we're gonna finish this tomorrow night. But I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna end it another place. I could not believe it, but when he came, all of me wanted him. I felt like there was this need inside of me, like I had this pain and only he could heal me. I had this grief that only he understood, and none of it made sense, but I was back with him. September, I was back. He was back in my bed. I just lost a baby. You just saw me on the bus. You didn't care. You didn't take my call for 5 months. I was pregnant. But you came back into my life, and I was back with you. My God. I was back with him. He was back in my bed. September, October, November, December came. He was at my house a lot. He still had his flat all this time. He's telling me so now he's confessing that he lived with somebody. He's so sorry. He'd lived with somebody, and that he was sorry that the person he kept dreaming blood. He kept dreaming blood, he said, and that the girl who he was with said to him, you know what, you love Ava, so go back to her. So he came back to me because I'm the one who he loved, and he loved me. And I believe, okay? I believed. Lord Jesus. Stay with me, guys. Don't go. So December came, and he was working in a petrol station. And I remember, I don't know if I felt secure in the relationship anymore, but I felt more secure than I felt all the other times. Because now he's back, and I'd lost the baby, so he must really love me, right? Because that's what he said he wanted. He wanted me to lose the baby. I didn't listen. Now the baby's gone, but he's back, so he loves me. Come on now. He actually meant what he said when he said, let's get rid of the baby so that we can be together and we're going to get married. So I believed him. December came, and he said he was going to go to work. And it was Christmas Eve. I never forget that. And we're going to have dinner at a friend's house. So he was working at the petrol station. He had Asian bosses, and he got dressed. He was so swankily dressed. And I thought, why is he dressed up like this? But it's Christmas Eve, so what's the big deal, Ava? And I thought, he's coming back home to me, so it's cool. By the way, he's still not living with me, but he's at my house all the time. And I actually was at home Christmas Eve, and something in my soul just said, no, this conversation about him going to work just doesn't sit well with me. He's too dressed. So I called the workplace. I did. And when I called his workplace and asked to talk to him, they said he wasn't on the rota that night. I'm going to let that sink in. They said he was not on the rota that night. Something in me died. Something in me just died, because you mean to tell me you've come back to tell me you're back to stay, and you left me at home Christmas Eve. You're gone to work and you're not at work? So he came on the night and he's like, oh, he came on like early, late morning, 2 o'clock. Oh baby, you know, these Indians are so wicked. And I'm like, I know, yeah, they are. And I believe him. And in my head, it was the 24th of December, almost 25th. And I told myself that I am gonna leave your ass and I am not going back to you this time. Christmas, we went to dinner just like nothing is happening. I told myself I'm gonna have Christmas dinner, and New Year's I'm leaving you, no problem. So went to Christmas dinner and pretend like nothing is happening. He doesn't know that I know he lied to me, and he obviously went to see another woman. I kept quiet. Guys, on the 28th of December, I started feeling sick again. Lord Jesus. Whenever I start feeling sick, I know something is wrong. So I said to myself, I'm not going to say anything to anybody, because I'm leaving this man. And I went to Boots again, my favorite place, Boots. Lord Jesus. When I took that pregnancy test, I wanted to die. I was pregnant with Mikkel again. And I couldn't leave this man. How am I going to leave this man? And I am pregnant again. How am I going to leave this man? I can't even pay my mortgage much. How am I going to have another baby? And I remember I cried. And when I told him I was pregnant, did I tell him? I'm trying to think. Nope. I didn't tell him. That's a lie. I broke up with him, and I'm pregnant. And when he found out that I was pregnant, he came back, and we tried to make it work, and I knew he was cheating. So what am I going to do? So we stayed together for a while. And I remember my 12-week scan. We went to the 12-week scan. I went to the 12-week scan. We went back to Tooting. And I went to the Primark to start, because I started showing very early. Went to Primark to get some clothes. I'm like, you're preparing for your pregnancy. And he walked and he picked up everything with me. And when he picked up everything with me, when I was to go to the queue to pay, he stood at the entrance of the queue. And I was like, this is crap. And I took him to the train station, and I never talked to him again for months. His dad had died. When he was going to go to Nigeria, no, he was going to go to Nigeria. That's a lie. His dad hadn't died. He was going to go and visit Nigeria. I took him to the train station, and he went to Nigeria, and I hadn't talked to him for months. When he came back, we're talking back and forth a little bit, and then I heard his dad died. So I went to look for him. And I went to look for him. He had no money. Again, I loaned him some money, a stupid girl, and he went to Nigeria. When he came back, I thought, okay, let's try and work, because I'm big pregnant now. And one morning, I was on my way to work. I was working in sales. I was sick like a dog. I had gestational diabetes, and I was pricking myself every day, 4 times a day. And I remember I left my house very early one morning, dropped Chardonnay at school, and drove to his house. And I was just in time to see him putting a woman in her car, 7 a.m. And he told me she was his auntie. Well, I'm going to finish this tomorrow. But let me say something to you guys. When you are in a space of being lonely, when you are in a space of low self-value, when you're in a space of low self-worth, the things you can do, the things you allow men and women to do to you, can be things that when you look back at them now, you question How could you do that? Tomorrow night, I want to talk to you about just basically how he and I went about our business, how we got married, and what happened. But I'm going to really focus a lot tomorrow night on the fact that the signs that I missed. And then on Monday night, I'm going to talk to you. On Sunday night, I'm going to talk to you about the last relationship I had and how I nearly allowed myself to commit again to a man who I saw all the red flags, and I decided to take time away from him, to think and to reflect, and how in taking the time away was when I saw who he really was, and I decided I couldn't compromise again, and so that left me single yet again, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I'm not going to settle for what is not really what I'm after. I'm really open to love. I want to be in love. I want to be married. I want to settle down. But it cannot be at the expense of my self-worth, and it cannot be at the expense of my self-value. And if anything from here, if you're on the replay or you're in the live chat now, if anything from here has been valuable to anybody, I really, really want to hear. It's so raw, but Audrey, I have to be raw. I have to be raw about it. I mean, I still dream. My son today, his name is Matthew. My other son can't handle. He had a maths teacher today. The maths teacher's name was Matthew, and it made me uncomfortable. But I went through that pregnancy by myself, and I can't understand what inside of me made me take that man back. But the way he treated me in the pregnancy with Mikhail is something to behold. And what he did after that, I'm going to summarize that tomorrow. But on Sunday, I'm going to go into how we need to also look for these signs as women. And sometimes when we are lonely and when we are single and when you live in countries like the United Kingdom where you are isolated, you sometimes settle for things that you would not normally settle for in your own country. And a woman like me, most men don't come after me. So as I stand now, men don't come after me. And it's painful because they have this concept that I'm this powerful woman and I'm confident, but I'm also lonely, and I'm vulnerable, and I'm also soft and I'm gentle, but they would not even come close. And sometimes when some of these men come close, they are two-timers. They have two women that they're playing on the side, and it's always the highest bidder and who has the most money, and there's a danger to that. And so I'm going to be talking about this in the next two series, but I hope this was helpful for somebody. I know it's my story, but I'm just being honest and vulnerable with you about how when you're empty and when you're low as a woman, sometimes you get trapped into situations that your body also calls for. And even when you're Christians, your body calls. You have a natural desire for companionship. And that was my story. But I'm going to share some more here over the next couple of days. And I'm just going to be honest and vulnerable and raw and just transparent with you, because I really believe that this is going to help somebody to understand that as a woman, I mean, today the woman I am is so different because of those lessons. I could have walked away from my last relationship, but if I didn't get those lessons, I would not be able to identify what is unhealthy for me, what is bad for me, how I should not over-compromise, and that whilst relationships are meant to be about compromise, that when you find yourself over-compromising, when you find yourself being unhappy, when you find yourself truly just being there to serve them and make them happy, then you need to examine it. Now, when you're in the relationship and you're already married and committed, it's a little bit different, although it shouldn't be that you should stay but when you're like me and you don't have to stay committed in something that is not for you, then it's worth stepping back. And so I find myself single again because I had to step out of this because it was not worth it. It wasn't serving me. It was one-sided. It was take. And I was giving because I'm a giver. That's who I am. But then I have to realize that I also want you to give to me. And so I stepped away. So tomorrow night, I'll tell you more about my ex-husband and I'll tell you about my dating experiences. In that space of my time of being single after my ex, I found myself going to dinner by myself. I started dating myself. I would go to book a restaurant and go and sit down by myself, and I would cry when I walk away because I felt empty. I felt useless. I felt abandoned. I felt unwanted. And all of the things I felt as a child came back and they show up. But one thing I've come to learn about myself is that I desire a man who's tuned in and tapped into who he is. And I need a man who's emotionally emotionally creative. He needs to feed me emotionally. If a man can't even look after me financially, emotionally, he needs to meet my needs. And if he can't do that, he will not make me happy. So I really hope this is helpful. Tag somebody, invite somebody over tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I'm going to be here again, and I'm going to be sharing the 3-part series. Audrey is coming to you next week sometime, or in the early part of February, to share a forgiveness series with our own experiences with you. And I really hope that from this, somebody will be elevated. From this, somebody will learn. But from this, you'll understand that I've been on my self-esteem journey. I've been on my self-confidence journey. I've been on my self-worth journey. I've been on my self-love journey. I didn't appear here overnight. And let me say this to you. When all of that crushed and crumbled, I had to get coaches and mentors. Like I had April Franz, I had Shayla Boyd, I had Lisa Nichols, I had Alison Bird. I had so many coaches. I had to go and get help because I could not unweave that for myself. I could not unravel that because there was something in that little girl inside of me whose father had abandoned her, was crying out for love, was craving for love. I still crave love today. I still desire love. I would love to know what a healthy, balanced male-female relationship feel like intimately. And so am I out there looking for a partner? Definitely, yes, I am looking for a partner, but I also know what I'm looking for. And because I know what I'm looking for, I'm not afraid to be on dating sites. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to ask my girlfriends to tell them that I'm looking, because the people who I'm going to ask that I'm looking, they know what I'm looking for. I'm not afraid to say, I can't wait for the Facebook dating app to come to the United Kingdom, because I'm gonna find a partner this year, because I want to get married and I want to settle down, and I know that I am truly ready and I deserve it. And so for all you ladies and men who are listening, please understand your worth. I always say to my clients, and it's so fundamental, to get a piece of paper and in the middle write your big circle, and in the big circle put your non-negotiables. You see, I never understood that. Put the 5 or 6 things that are deal breakers for you. If the person doesn't come with these, you cannot be with them. The last relationship I had, I thought they were there. I had a list and I thought they were there. And then the person started showing me their true self. And then the big circle dissipated because what was on the outer circles were too hard to deal with. They were creeping over into my big circle. But know what you want. Because when you don't know what you want in a relationship, that is when the crap shows up. So I hope that blessed somebody. I hope somebody was blessed by that. I'm so excited. You allow me to share this with you. If you're on the replay, let me know how you feel about this. And I'm going to share some more with you guys tomorrow and Sunday. And I hope that's going to give you some value and some context as to who I am. But if you have a nice, handsome, tall, dark, professional, emotionally balanced brother, send him my way. Let's have a conversation. Until tomorrow night, it's Dr. Ava Eagle Brown. I'm so glad you're here. Invite somebody over to the group. Don't just sit here by yourself. If this is blessing you, it will bless somebody else. Let's each invite somebody and let us have some meaningful, vulnerable conversation. Until tonight, it's your girl, Dr. Ava Eagle Brown.